Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this Simpler Futures recap video, we're going to cover one of the main things that I do at the very beginning of each week, which is re-examine and rebuild my watch list. Now there are a few things that I'll use to do this, and in this free video I'm going to walk you through how to do that, how I do it over at Simpler Futures and actually Forex. And just a quick peek at the members area. You know, for those of you that may not have checked out our $7 trial, it is available now, and it should be just underneath this video. You'll see a link to that. You can try our silver or gold membership for $7, but if you're going to try it out, you know, my recommendation is give the gold a whirl, because you're just going to get more bang for your buck for those 30 days, and you'll be able to join me in the chat room as well as get the trade alerts that are going to be starting this week. So pretty exciting times for us over here at Simpler Futures. We're relaunching the site. Super stoked to have you here. All right, so let's talk about building a watch list and some of the tools that I use. Now ultimately my trades are going to end up here on the spreadsheet, and you can see we've got the futures and Forex, but before they're actually there on the spreadsheet, there's some things that I refer to before I find a setup. It's got to be a viable symbol. There's got to be a reason that I am willing to put my capital at risk for this particular symbol. So let's start off with the Forex side of things. And yes, we do have an active Forex or currency side to what we're doing over at Simpler Futures, because I've been trading Forex really actively for nearly 18 years. In 1999, Forex became available in the US, and between 99 and about 2007, 2008, there was kind of a resurgence or kind of a heyday here in the US with currencies. Well, obviously in other parts of the world, that's been a very normal part of a trading life, but it was kind of new to traders here in the US. So we've just kept the spirit of that going here at Simpler Futures, because a lot of those Forex symbols can be traded on the futures side. How do you pick a currency to trade? It doesn't matter if it's going to be Forex or futures. You want to start off with contrast, and if you're looking for intraday kind of day trades, you want to look at the one-day relative performance, but for longer term you want to actually look at the 1 month. And take a look at what the weaker currencies have been, what the stronger currencies have been, and look at what I call contrast. And that means that ultimately what you're doing is looking at the stronger currencies versus the weaker currencies. If there's not much contrast between two currencies, there's probably not much of a trend, and we're looking for those trends, those uptrends, those downtrends. We're looking for a trend, because it's the follow through on currency trends that is just so powerful, and that's why we look at the 1 month. So take a look at those time frames on the daily, say for example like a pound New Zealand, or a euro Canadian dollar, or an Australian dollar versus Japanese yen. So I'll get more into that as we proceed through the videos this week, but this is the first place I'll go, and this is the finviz.com website. Now for my futures, I'll do something very, very similar. What is the 1 month relative performance? And this is going to give me a good idea of which currencies are on the move and may have organized into a trend. Now we've been in and out, by the way, of feeder cattle over the past couple weeks. We still have long positions, very nice long positions in the NAS and in the DAX via the ETF, the EWG. We've been playing the Nikkei, right? We've been looking at the Kiwi again. This is a pretty new clarity trend. I don't have a lot of trust in it, but it's been an actually valid one. We've also looked at the 30-year. This is actually reorganizing into a really nice uptrend. What else have we looked at? Well, there's been a trend on the US dollar. I'm looking to capitalize on the downtrend, and there's been a really nice trend on the euro, but these are a little bit more in the transition from strength to weakness. But I'm going to take you through the euro and the US dollar right now, because there's some interesting trades happening, and I want to leave you with some good ideas. Now you'll notice this is kind of the radar that we use in the chat room, and I leave these charts up throughout the day in the chat, because that way you can take a look at the 3 main kind of segments of symbols that we track, that I track in at the website. So you'll see there's our futures right across the top here. Then we have some of the key ETFs. Now, ETFs are interesting. You might say, well, Rog, isn't that equities? That is true, but a lot of times currencies and some of the indexes that have a global macro associated with them, even sometimes when you're looking at XLE or XLF, these will have application to, say, the S&Ps. Here you'll have application to crude oil here. EWG is another way to play the DAX versus the futures. So there's some very interesting, this is crude oil, right? So there's some very interesting ways to play the stories that we're looking at either on the futures side or the currency side. In fact, we've been in and out of options on the FXE quite a bit. All right, so there's so many different ways you could take advantage of these themes that we see playing out in futures and in currencies. Let me take you to one such theme right now because it's happening today, and that is the euro versus US dollar. And in the euro versus US, we're getting some interesting price action that's taking us back to a level that we bought from last week. Now, last week we had a pullback to the 1.1135 level that we'd put on the spreadsheet, and we'd taken that up 60 pips to the 1195 initial profit target. Once that happens, we put in a break-even stop. And this is very important because once you've got that break-even stop in place, you have a couple things. You've locked in your profits. You're not going to let this winner turn into a loser, but you've still backed off to a healthy enough degree that if something like this happens, this kind of pullback, you can still stay long, which is what we've been able to do. But we're also looking for a refire down in this area. Again, I'm looking for the 1135 level, but there's another way you can capitalize on this going into not only today's Asian session, but into tomorrow. And that's going to be on the shorter term 5 or 15-minute time frame. So let me walk you through the wave reversal here. This is a setup where we take advantage of an intraday, typically a shorter term intraday downtrend, and we look for this kind of upward hook. And the trigger for this is most often the 34 EMA on the high when we're looking for the transition from a downtrend to an uptrend. And you'll notice at about that same level, I've got my Darvis box high. Now, I'm not going to blindly follow the Darvis. However, it's pretty magical when we get a transition from an up to down trend where the Darvis top and the 34 EMA are basically at a similar or very close level. And in this case, even making it more powerful, I've got the 1155 level in play. So I'm actually looking at 1.1155 for a trigger to the upside. The only thing that we're lacking at the moment is the confirmation from the CCI. It's not necessary, but what I do like to see is that the commodity channel index, this is a 20-period CCI with a positive 100 and negative 100, I'd like to see that above the 0 level as the trade triggers. It's not necessary, but it's a really nice confirmation. Now, as this is happening, we're also going to watch gold, okay? Now, with gold, I'm looking for something similar as well. Gold sold off quite a bit. It actually went down to a range low target of 145.8. These are levels that we know very early on, and I'll be teaching you guys a lot about these indicators and price movement range studies that I use in our members only Super Saturday classes. So, by the way, if you haven't thought about getting the $7 trial, this would be a perfect time to do it because this Saturday I'm going to be going over the basics of futures. The following Saturday we're going to be getting into the basics of Forex, and the Saturday after that I'm going to be teaching you how I use a lot of free and low-cost tools to be able to pinpoint levels like 145.8 on gold. So if you've ever wanted to get basically just an awesome education, live trading analysis, and just kick the tires on what we're doing over here at Simpler Futures, now is an amazing time. $7. So absolutely take advantage of that while you can. All right, so what's the trigger here? It's taking out the top line of the wave, the 34 EMA on the high, as we're waiting for this market to basically hit this support area, 1245.8. Did I say 145? 1245.8, and take out basically 1246.5 to create an intraday wave reversal or an intraday trend break to the upside. Again, I want the 1246, say 5 level broken, and then I would like to see the CCI above the green line, above the CCI positive 100 reading. So a couple setups there today to watch. These are kind of mixing end of day signals as well as intraday. So if you're looking for intraday and end of day, we do both here, and sometimes you can actually get a little bit more accuracy on your longer term time frame entries by using the intraday time frames, and I love doing that. Here's a great example of how I'm doing that in euro and in gold. Okay, I'll see you in the next update.